Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Longchamp Racecourse here on Sunday. It is October the 7th, 2018. It's Arc Day from Longchamp, and I'm going to look at all the races on the program, including the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world. Excellent card of racing today from Longchamp, Group 1 galore. You know, you have the Arc, and it's just great racing. You can make some money with some of these races, so let's get on to it. We have 8 races to look at, starting off with the first race. The first race from Longchamp, it's the Prix MARCEL BOUSSAC Stakes. It's a Group 1 race here, going for a purse of $460,000. This race is for 2-year-old fillies here. Field of 8 horses going to the post, the distance of ground of 1,600 meters or 1 mile on the Longchamp lawn, the turf course. The ground's going to be a little dry today, so just keep that in mind. My top selection here in the MARCEL BOUSSAC, I like the number 4 horse, the 4 horse Roques. I'm going to go 4-6 in the forecast exacta. 4-6 forecast exacta. Top selection of 4 horse Roques. This French bred two-year-old filly by Lawman here. Christian Demero gets leg up. He's 9-5 as the favorite, but he should really run a big race. His most recent outing came the 9th of September here at Longchamp on firm ground, 1,600 meters, 1 mile in the Group 3 Prix d'Emile. The horse won by 3/4 length. First time stepping up against stakes quality horses. He just took off that day. An easy victory. It was an all-around good effort there. Before that, Clairefontaine, the 30th of July, 7 furlongs, 1,400 meters in soft ground, and just an allowance race. He won that day by 3.5 lengths, and again, could have won by more, but, Christian Demero rode the horse that day at Clairefontaine. Didn't want to kill the poor thing. It was a very easy race, and then his first outing came at Chantilly, the 9th of July, 7 furlongs, 1,400 meters in an allowance race. He was facing winners there for his first start, but again, he got the victory by head. It wasn't the most impressive victories, but he got it done. A really good effort. He's run 3 races, and he's been getting better with every race. He should like the firm ground today. He has a good post out today from the number 6 barrier, and, I think he'll really run a big one. 9-5, like I said, it's a crap price, but watch out for him to run a big one. So to recap my selections for the opener from Longchamp, race number 1, it's the Prix MARCEL BOUSSAC Stakes. Gonna go with the 4 horse Roques. Gonna go 4-6 in the forecast exacta. So now let's get on to race number 2 from Longchamp. It's the Group 1 Prix JEAN-LUC LAGARDERE Grand Criterium Stakes. It's a Group 1 race here, going for a purse of $460,000. This race is for 2-year-old colts and fillies here, even though there is no fillies in this run. We have a field of 6 horses going the 1,600 meter journey or 1 mile on the Longchamp lawn of the turf course here. Will we see some of these horses next May in the French 2,000 guineas, the Poulains, I think they call it, right? If I'm not mistaken, the Poulet d'Essai des Poulains. I think that's how you say I think that's the French 2,000 guineas, or it might be the 1,000 guineas. I think I'm close enough. But my top selection here in the JEAN-LUC LAGARDERE, I like the favorite, the 2 horse Anador. I'm gonna go 2-6-4 in the tricast of the trifecta. 2-6-4 tricast trifecta. That's my top 3 basically. My top selection is the 2 horse Anador, this French bred 2-year-old colt here. Freddie had trains. Arlene Lemetrie is on this one. The horse has only had 2 starts, but the 2 starts have been incredible. Most recently, the 9th of September here at Longchamp, 1 mile, 1,600 meters in the Group 3 Prix de Chenise. The horse won by 2 lengths, and he could have won by more. Geared down late. It was a very good going away victory there. First time stakes horses, first time against winners, and then he ran the 7th of August at Deauville again, 1,500 meters, 7.5 furlongs down the straightaway in a maiden race. He won by 2 lengths. Another race, he got the lead, and then he just took, he had the race in hand. A very easy race. I think coming here, he is a little wide on the race course, but, out of all the horses in this race, he's run, I think, the best miles, or the best races out of anybody here today, and I just think, you have a good horse on your hand here, so watch out for him. An horse that I think could maybe upset at a small chance, and I really mean a small chance, would be the 6 horse Shaman. This 2-year-old colt here by Chamardal. Maxime Guillon gets the leg up. He finished 3rd in the Prix de Chenise here at Longchamp a few weeks ago by 2 3/4 lengths, and he never really got into the race as the favorite. Anador just ran a hell of a race. This horse wasn't catching him there. Before that, at Deauville in the Prix Francois Boutin Stakes. Basically, it was a listed stakes that afternoon at Deauville, 12th of August. Here he finished second by 1/4 lengths, and he couldn't get that good final kick at the end. And then at Chantilly in an allowance race in mid-July, he broke the main by 3/4 length. He had an easy race there, but he just, maybe the mile distance might be a little bit too long for him. But if there's a bit of a, but I could be wrong also. He could maybe upset at 8-1, but that Onador just does look a little bit better, so I'll take him as a top selection. But the 6-horse Shaman is definitely good enough to get second here, so he'll be used on my TriCast and Forecast tickets, Exacta and Trifecta tickets for us Americans. But to recap my selections now for the second from Longchamp, it's the Prix JEAN-LUC LAGARDERE, the Group 1 Prix JEAN-LUC LAGARDERE. Gonna go as a top selection, the 2-horse Onador. Gonna go 2, 6, 4 in the TriCast, so the Trifecta. So now let's get on to race number 3 from Longchamp. It's for the Arabian horses. It's the Group 1 Qatar Arabian World Cup Group 1 race here, going for a purse of just over $1.1 million. This race is for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 16 horses tackling the 2,000-meter journey or mile and a quarter on the turf course. Very good race here for the Arabians. I like the number 5 horse Yazid as a top selection. I'm going to go 5, 6, 7 in the TriCast of the Trifecta. Or basically, that's my top 3. There's no TriCast or Trifecta wagering this race, but my top 3 would be 5, 6, 7, basically. Top selection of 5-horse Yazid, this French-bred Arabian horse, 5-year-old horse here. Olivier Pellier gets the leg up. This horse had his first start off the layoff most recently, the 16th of September here at Longchamp, a mile and a quarter in the Qatar Cup, basically the Group 1 Pre-Dragon Stakes. The horse won by a nose off the break. He got there in the nick of time, all-out finish. He got the nose in front. It was a good race, but, off the break, he probably need the race. I think here second off the break, he should really run a major improvement of a race, I think, also. Before that, he ran it in the Middle East at Doha in Qatar, 5th of April, a mile and a quarter in the Group 1 Qatar Gold Sword Stakes. The horse finished second by 3/4 length, and he lost to Gazwan, who's a hell of a horse, too. He's run back in this one today. But he just couldn't get the good kick at the end. The ground was a little rock hard for him, not to his liking, so maybe that had something to do with it. And then before that, Doha and Qatar, this 24th of February, mile and a half in a Group 1 stakes race. He finished third by 3 3/4 lengths. He had a trouble trip with heavyweight, really didn't get into the race. If you're wondering where to find the replays for the races from Qatar and Doha, you could go here on YouTube, and they're all there. It's very easy. More race courses should do that. But that's how I figured out about this horse's runs, because there's no comment line to give you the little bit of the excuse to go off of. But that day at Doha, he just had a trouble trip. But before that, again in Doha in Qatar, he ran just a basic allowance race, going mile 3/8 on the turf course. That day, won by 4 1/4 lengths and just took off clear. And then he won the Qatar Derby in the Middle East by nose. Good race, just getting there in time. He should like the mile and a quarter trip today. He gets the veteran Pellier up. Watch out for him. Maybe another horse that could possibly upset here would be the 6-horse Ibraz. He's at 9-2 here, and I mean a small price, 9-2. 5-year-old horse here by Amir. Theo Bachelet is on this one. The horse's most recent appearance came in the Qatar International Stakes at Goodwood, 1 mile August the 1st. He finished second by 1 1/4 lengths there. He had heavy weight, and he just couldn't get the good kick at the end. First off the break, he needed the race. I also think the mile might have been too short for this horse. The mile and a quarter today he should really like. Before that, he ran at Doha in Qatar, a mile and a quarter in the Group 1 Qatar Gold Sword Stakes. There he finished third behind Gazwan and Yazid. That day he just never got around the race course well. But before then, the Group 1 Sword, the Emirates Sword Stakes at Doha, a mile and a half, February 24th. He had a very good second place finish by 1/4 lengths. Again, Gazwan just ran a little bit better, but he was coming at the end. I think here with a good inside poster, he's a horse could maybe upset at 9-2, so I'll use him there. As maybe a small each way wager. So that's about him. And of course, Gazwan, I have third on my ticket. He's coming out of a really good winter at Doha by sweeping the big Group 1 races they had there. He won this race last year by a neck at Chantilly very nicely. And but something that does scare me a tiny bit, he didn't run very good in the prep race for this race, the Pre-Dragon at Longchamp a few weeks ago. He finished third by 9 lengths. It was all over the place. Never getting the good kick. And then before that, like I said, he won Doha very easily. Won this race last year, Shanti. But last year they ran this race. They ran the Pre-Dragon at Shanti also, and there he was all over the place also, never getting the good kick. So maybe he doesn't do well first off the break. Maybe second off the break he does better, but you know, his last one was very weird. I have him third. If he wins, he wins, but you know, I think the other two horses have liver chances than Gazwan, but if he wins, he wins. No, you know, I won't cry about it. But to recap my selections now for the third from Longchamp, it's the Group 1 Qatar Arabian World Cup. Top selection, I'm going to use the 5-horse Yazid. I'll go 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7. It's a TriCaster, it's my top 3, but there's no TriCast wagering here, so I might do an exacta or forecast here 5 with the 6, 7. So now let's get on to the big race. Race number 4 from Longchamp. It's the featured race of the afternoon. The fourth race, it's the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. Group 1 race here, going for a purse of just over $5.5 million in the American currency. Nearly $6 million, shall we say. But this race is for 3-year-olds and upwards here. Field of 19 horses tackling the 2,400-meter journey, or 1 mile and 1/2 on the turf course. A very good race here. You have a very talented group of horses going into this one, and you know, I'll give you 4 horses that I like a lot. Here in America, there's going to be something, a transatlantic pick 4 basically, which is going to connect the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe and the Prix de l'Opera, and they're going to connect those 2 races in Europe to 2 races at Belmont, I believe, the Fresette and the Flower Bowl. So I'll give you the horses, the 4 horses I'll be using on my pick 4 ticket, which I would play, and you could do what you want with them. But these 4 horses I'll be giving you are the horses I really like, who have strong chances of winning here. So the 4 horses I like, who I'll be using in order as my favorite horse, as my top pick to my, you know, not so top pick, but they do have strong chances to win. My top selection here would be the 10-horse Naval. I think she's an incredible mare, and I think she'll really run a big one. She'll be my top selection, but I'm also going to use the number 6 horse here, who is Cloth of Stars. I think he's going to be sitting on a big race. I've been saying that a while, but I really do think he's sitting on a big race. I'm also going to use the number 5 horse here, Valdgest, and I'm going to use a bit of a long shot here, the number 12 horse, Patsakoi. So for me here, the top 4 who I'll be using in my pick 4, or Quaddy as they call them down under, I'll be using 10, 6, 5, 12, 10, 6, 5, 12. Let's start off with the 10 horse Enable, 6 to 5, my top selection, 4-year-old mare by Nathaniel. John Gosden trains. Frankie Dettori gets the leg up. John Gosden and Frankie Dettori won this race last year with Enable. They won it back in 2015 also with Golden Horn very impressively. Last time the ARC was run here at Longchamp before the redevelopment, so it would be kind of cool for them to win it again back here when it makes its return to Longchamp today. But you know, this Enable, she's an incredible mare. Her most recent outing, first off the break, came at Kempton on the all-weather a month ago. 1.5 miles in the Group 3 September Stakes. She won by 3.5 lengths, and she wasn't even 100% there. She was probably 75% ready to go there, but she went straight to the lead, and she didn't look back. She won for fun. I think here, second off the break, you're going to see a very impressive run here, because I think she's going to be a very tough horse to get around here. She also has a good post-draw. A lot of the good horses, I think, have wide poster, which is going to cost them at the end. On this race course, you want to be drawn low. Outside, you just do not want to be drawn. So with a good post-draw here from the number 6 hole, I believe, yes, number 6, I think that's going to be really the key to this horse's victory today. And if she gets a clear trip, you know, watch out for her. But the Kempton race was her first start since last year's ARC. Last year was, remember, it was run at Chantilly, 1.5 miles, and she won by 2.5 lengths that day. She sat back early, she got the lead in the straightaway, and then she took off. A very good victory there, beating Cloth of Stars and Ulysses. You know, it was an impressive run. And then before that, in the Yorkshire Oaks at York, 1.5 miles, August 24th, she won by 5 lengths, and again, on lead almost all throughout. She just walked home. A very good race, beating stablemate Coronet, who finished second there. And then she ran before that in the King George Queen Elizabeth at Ascot. First time facing the boys. She won by 4.25 lengths. Even with the weight break, nothing was getting in her way. She just again tracked early on, got the lead, and then she took off. Very good race. And then she won the Irish Oaks impressively in 2017. She loves the distance. She'll love the going. I think she'll love Longchamp. Good post draw. 6 to 5. That's the only problem with this horse. It's low low odds, so you're not going to make a lot of money if you do a win wager. But like I said, she's a very strong candidate to win here, so I'll use her. She'll be used in my pick 4, also the transatlantic pick 4. I'll also use on my pick 4 the 6-horse Cloth of Stars. Godolphin known as 5-year-old horse by See the Stars. Andre 5 trains. Vincent Chaminade gets the leg up. This horse's most recent outing came the 16th of September at Longchamp. A mile and a half, 2,400 meters in the Group 2 Prix. The horse finished third by 2 3/4 lengths there behind Valdez and Talismanic. He never had the good closing kick, but that was an improvement off his race before, where he just never had the good run. But, he showed a little bit of heart without that good turn of foot. I think he's going to be really geared up to this race today, and I think you might see the old Cloth of Stars run a big one today. He hasn't won since 2017 when he had a magical season making $1.5 million. But, the Prix was his first race since the 1st of July. That came at Saint-Cloud, a mile and a half on soft ground in the Prix de Saint-Cloud. He finished 4th by 2 lengths behind Valdez and Coronets and Soline. He never got into the run there. It just wasn't the day to win. The soft ground probably had something to do with it. And that's Chantilly in the Grand Prix de Chantilly, a mile and a half, June the 3rd. He finished 6th by 6.5 lengths. Again, 80 cents a dollar. He just does not like soft ground. He runs his best races, I think, on firm ground. Last time he had firm ground, and he ran a little bit better than the races before. And then before that, the time he had firm ground was at Longchamp here, a mile 5/16 in the Prix Gannet, where he finished third by 4 3/4 lengths behind Cracksman, who ran the race of the year for him. This horse, again, first off the break, first back from Dubai, he probably need the race, but he had a little bit of a turn of foot. It wasn't the world's worst race, but I also think he would have really benefited from the extra furlong and a half getting to the mile and a half trip rather than the mile 5/16 trip. But I think today, finally, with a good post draw again, firm ground, I think he's a horse that's gonna, at a price, could get a piece of it. 25-1, I'll use him here, especially on my pick 4. Another horse I'll use here would be the number 5 horse. The number 5 horse Valdez. Pierre-Charles Boudou's on this one at 8-1. This 4-year-old colt by Galileo. Andre 5 trains. This horse's most recent outing came in the Prix here at Longchamp a few weeks ago. A mile and a half, September the 16th. And he won by 2.5 lengths off the break. He just won for fun. A very easy race. Didn't even look like he needed the race, because he just won very impressively on the front end. Before that, in the Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud at Saint-Cloud, a mile and a half, July the 1st, he won by nose. The ground was demanding there. He got there in the end, but it wasn't the worst race for him, but it wasn't the best race either. If you look at all of his races this year, it was probably the second worst race for him, but in his life, it wasn't the worst race for him. Before that, he ran again the Grand Prix de Chantilly at Chantilly, a mile and a half, June the 3rd. He won by 3 lengths and destroyed the field there, winning easily. And then he ran the Prix de Hauteville here in Longchamp, mile and a half, May the 6th. That day, he won by 1 1/4 lengths, another easy race. And then he ran the Prix de Harcourt opening day here at Longchamp back in the spring. That day the ground was very, very wet, slippery at times, and he just didn't get around the race course well. First off the break, he probably needed the race there, but he's another horse. He's coming to this race well. He's going to have to overcome a little bit of a wide post draw, but he's proven he could run. So I'll take him here at 8-1. Horse I'll use on my pick 4. And another horse I'll use here on my pick 4 at a bit of a price here. This is 12 horse Pat Sokoy. Olivier Pellier, the veteran, gets on this one. The Trio Colt here by Wooten Bassett. This horse is coming out of Group 2 at Deauville a few weeks ago, mile and a quarter, August 15th, and the Group 1, in the Group 2 Prix Julien de Arnaud Stakes. He finished second by 4 lengths at 45-1 behind Night to Behold. That day he had a little bit of a turn of foot. I think if he had the mile and a half that day, he could have did a little bit better, but he got around the race course well. Before that, in the Prix Jockey Club at Chantilly, a mile 5/16, June the 3rd, at 21-1, he had a very good second place finish by a half length behind Study of Man. Study of Man's running back in this one today. And before I get back to this Pat Sokoy, Study of Man, if he had a better post draw today, I would fancy him a little bit, but since he's breaking from 19 stall, he's going to have to save so much ground if he wants to win. And also, if he had a lower post draw, he could get the mile and a half, but from the outside post draw, Study of Man, the mile and a half trip just scares me a little bit, so I won't be using him. But this one, he finished second. Pat Sokoy finished second behind him in the Prix Jockey Club, where he had a perfect trip closing up well behind him. He nearly won, but he ran a good effort there. And then the Prix de Gouchy at Chantilly, mile and 8th, May the 7th. He had a second place finish by head, really running well. I like this horse a lot here today, and so he'll be used on the pick 4. But to recap my selections now for the 4th from Longchamp, Longchamp. It's the Group 1 $5.75 million Group 1 Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe top selection. I like the number 10 horse Enable. I'm going to go 10, 6, 5, 12 in the superfecta, or my top four basically 10, 6, 5, 12. 10, 6, 5, 12. They'll be used in my pick 4. So now let's get on to race number 5. Before we get on to race number 5, I want to talk about a few more horses here in the ARC. I'll give you my thoughts on the other horses in the race who I don't like, and I'll tell you why I don't like them. So we'll start with, we'll go in post-position order. Starting off with the 9-horse Clincher, the Japanese horse in the race. This 4-year-old colt by Deep Sky. Takataki, the veteran, gets the leg up. I don't like this horse a lot because he's going to be stepping up in loads of class here. He hasn't run very well his last few runs. In Group 1 quality races in Japan. He ran in the Prix last time out where he ran absolutely crap. Okay, it was off the break, but he just didn't never get into the race. His only win this year came in a Group 2 in Kyoto in Japan, where he won very nicely, but he's stepping up in loads of class today. I don't like him a lot. He's a horse I won't touch with a very long stick. The next horse to talk about is the 17-horse Nelson. This is one of the Aidan O'Brien horses here. He hasn't run very well at all in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since he hasn't run a good race since the spring. He started here back in the Grand Prix de Paris, where he finished 5th by 8 lengths, never getting into the race. Then after that, they took this horse to York, where he ran crap, and then he ran the St. Ledger in Doncaster, where he ran crap. He's going to have to run the race of his life. Do not fancy him here. We're not using him anywhere. The 3-horse Capri, this 4-year-old colt by Galileo, another Aidan O'Brien horse for Dominic O'Brien, gets leg up. He ran in the Prix a few weeks ago, and again, he ran absolutely crap again. Never got into the race. It was his first time against Group 1 horses this year, and he just never got around well. Before that, he won a very nice Group 3 at Nice in the in the spring very nicely. But last year he ran the ARC, where he finished 17th by 12 1/4 lengths, never getting into the run. But he did win the St. Ledger last year at Doncaster very nicely. But he's the kind of horse, he's going to have to run the race of his life. I just don't think he'll be doing it today. He's not a horse I'll be touching. The 8-horse Tiberian, 99-1. He's a stayer. I don't think this is the right race for him. I actually would have ran him yesterday, I think, in the Peter Cadran. William Buell gets the leg up. He's just not a horse I would touch here, because like I said, he's a stayer. He's going to like longer distances. We talked about Enable already. The number 2 horse Celine, Shin Murphy gets leg up. This horse is coming out of some races in France and England where, he hasn't been running his last 3 very nicely against Group 1 horses. He did finish second in the Coronation Cup at Epsom in June behind Cracksman, but, since then he hasn't really run a big race. Not a horse, he's going to have to run the race of his life, a horse I'm not using. 7-horse Talismanic is a horse I would use in Group 2 races, just not here. He did win the a race at Deauville back in August, a Group 3 very nicely by 2 lengths, but that was a very easy, low race. But his Group 1 races in France haven't been that good. He's a Grade 1 horse here in America, but he's only a Group 2 horse in Europe. Not a horse I'll use. The 4-horse Way to Paris, JEAN-LUC, the veteran, gets on this one. This 5-year-old horse by Champs-Élysées, another horse, he's going to have to run the race of his life. He ran the Prix a few weeks ago where he finished 4th, never getting into the run. Before then, the Grand Prix de Deauville at Deauville, on soft ground, he never got into the race. And then, he ran in the Grand Prix de Chantilly, never getting into the race. He can't beat Group 2 or Group 3 quality horses. He's not beating this group of horses. Not a horse I would definitely not use this horse. The 11-horse Nufa Basque, Christian Demero's on this one. He ran the Prix-Niel a few weeks ago where he finished 3rd, and he ran okay there. The winner Bruntland actually won yesterday here at Longchamp in the opener. But it was off the break. He did run well there, and he did run well in the Grand Prix de Paris behind Kew Gardens. But I think they're asking a little bit too much too soon. He's a horse. He probably has a bright future, but I just don't see the bright future today. The 16-horse Hunting Horn, the Stereo Colt by Camelot, Aidan O'Brien's trains this one. Shamey Heffernan gets a leg up on this one. He had a very good second place finish in the Prix-Niel a few weeks ago behind Bruntland. He closed up well. He just missed. He ran a good effort, but he's a little bit of a weird horse. He could sit closer, he could come from behind, but you know, his Group 1 races haven't been that good. He's a wide poster, he's just not going to get into it for me. The 13 horse Q Gardens is a bit of a weird horse. He won the St. Ledger a few weeks ago very nicely, but his other races against really good Group 1 horses haven't been the best. He did win the Grand Prix de Paris earlier this year, but those were against not the best 3-year-olds. But you know, he's just not a horse. I think they're asking a little bit too much too soon at the moment. I think he's going to be a great stayer later in the year, later in his life, but just not now. I see him kind of being later in his career, being like a Order of St. George kind of horse, staying the distance, but just not here. Not a horse I would use. The 19 horse CF class. This horse has a very wide poster. This filly by See the Star. William Haggas trains. James Doyle gets the leg up. You know, this horse won the Yorkshire Oaks very nicely behind Coronet, in front of Coronet last time out at York. She won it by 2 1/4 lengths. You know, closing up well. You know, she won the Irish Oaks very nicely. But those are very subpar races in Group 1 quality horses. I think coming here, a massive step up in class. I just don't think it's her day to win, especially from the wide poster. The 18 horse, another filly, Magical. Wayne Lorden gets on this one for Aidan O'Brien. Another horse stepping up in loads of class. Not a horse I would really use here because she just hasn't really run well in those races. And I just think her better distance is going to be a mile. The 15 horse, Louis Dior, the Zero Colt by Instello. Another horse, wide poster, hasn't run really well in any of the races as of lately. No, not a horse I would use. The 1 horse Defoe ran a good second place finish behind Best Solution at Bottom in Germany a few weeks ago. But other than that, he hasn't really run good races. Also, the wide poster that he doesn't get into it. And the 14 horse from the wide 19 stall, Study of Man. If he had a better poster, I could have, excuse me, if he had a better poster, I could have possibly used him on my ticket, but the distance scares me a lot with him. I think he's a 1.25 horse. The 1.5, you know, I just don't think he's going to get it, especially from today, a 19 stall post draw. If he wins, he's going to have to save loads of ground. But, you know, I think they're just asking a little bit too much too soon. I think he has a bright future, but just not in this race today. So there are my thoughts for the arc on the other horses. So now, finally, let's get on to race number 5 from Longchamp. Race number 5 from Longchamp. It's the Prix de l'Opéra Longines. It's a Group 1 race here going for a purse of $575,000. This race is for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 15 horses going to post. 16 horses going to post. The distance of ground of 2,000 meters or 1.25 miles on the turf course. Second leg of the transatlantic pick 4 here that connects the Longchamp races to the Belmont races here in America. So I'll give you 3 horses that I'll be using on my pick 4 here. But as a top selection, I like the 11 horse Wide Illusion. The horses I'll be using in my pick 4 quaddy would be the 11, 15, and 8. So the 11 horse Wide Illusion, the 15 horse With You, and the 8 horse Castellar. So the first horse I'm talking about is my top selection, the 11 horse Wide Illusion. Thrill Filled by DeBowie here. Charlie Appleby trained. William Buick gets the leg up. Charlie Appleby and William Buick have been going over to France this whole year and just stealing a lot of the races. Those listed stakes all the way up to these group races. They've been having a good year doing that. Actually, a lot of the UK runners and trainers have been doing that a lot this year and stealing all these races. But, this Wild Illusion, she should love the trip here. Cutting back to a 1.25 today again. The horse's most recent outing, though, came the 2nd of August, a good one. A 1.25 in the Group 1 Nassau Stakes. She won by 2 lengths there, on the lead all throughout. She had another gear in the straightaway, and she just won for fun. A very good race there. Before that, she ran the 21st of June at Royal Ascot. A 1.5 miles in the Group 2 Ribblesdale. She finished second by 4 lengths behind Magic Wand. Magic Wand, who's running back in this one today, just had the jump on this horse. She just couldn't get that really good closing kick there. Maybe the 1.5 miles wasn't to her liking. And then before that, in the Vestic Oaks, the English Oaks at Epsom, 1.5 miles June the 1st. She finished second by 4.5 lengths. Forever Together had a great move on the inside that day. This horse just wasn't catching her. But I think, like I said, coming back to a 1.25 today, she should really do well. And I think she'll be sitting on the race for her life. She's already won in France at Chantilly last year on Arc Day. She won the Prix MARCEL BOUSSAC, where she won by 1.25 lengths, sitting close to the lead and then took off clear. So she's won in France already at Chantilly. Coming here to get the 1.25, I just think she'll run well, so watch out for it. I think the 15 horse With You at 6 to 1 is a horse you want to use on your pick 4 ticket. Arlene Limity is on this one for Freddie Head. This horse's most recent on came in the Jacques Le Maurice at Deauville on mile August 12th, where this horse finished third by 6 lengths behind Alpha Centauri and Recoletos. This horse just never really got into the race, never got the good closing kick. The ground was very wet, so maybe that had something to do with it. Finally stepping on dry ground, I think that could maybe make the difference for this horse. She did win on wet ground, though, 2 races before in the Prix Rothschild at Deauville. 1 mile July the 29th. She won by 3 lengths down the straightaway. It wasn't the toughest race, but she just took off clear. A very good race there. And then she ran the Prix de Diane at Chantilly, mile 5:16, June the 17th. Basically the French Oaks. She finished 5th by half length. Laurence ran a hell of a race, and I believe she won yesterday in the Sun Chariot at Newmarket. This horse, she just wasn't catching her, and then she ran in the Prix Saint-Hilaire at Longchamp back here in the late May, where she finished 2nd by a nose behind Laurence. She got around the race course well. I think today, with a good poster, dry ground, I think you could see her get a piece of it. 6-1. She's a horse you just definitely want to use on your ticket, along with the 8-horse Castellar, the 8-horse. Olivier Pellier, the veteran, gets a leg up for this one. This trio filly by American Post. She ran the Prix de la Noëtie at Deauville a few weeks ago, mile and a quarter, August 18th, where she won by 3/4 length. It was an improvement off the race before. That day on soft ground, she took off clear at the end, and she just won for fun, stepping down. A good race. Before that, in the Prix de Diane, the French Oaks at Chantilly, back in June, she just had a terrible trip. She finished 10th by 4.5 lengths. Wide post, just never got into the race. And then the Prix Cleopatra, she won by next, winning easily. She had a very good second place finish here at Longchamp in the spring. I think today, good poster, I'm on a quarter, firm ground, which she's going to like. I think she's a horse that could get a piece of it. 15-1, I'll use her on my pick 4. But to recount my selections now for the 5th from Longchamp, it's the Group 1, Prix de l'Opera. Going to go as a top selection, the 11-horse Wild Illusion. I'll go 11-15-8. 11-15-8. I'll probably do an exacta box or a forecast box with all 3 of them, and I'll definitely use all 3 of them in the, what did I just say all 4 of them? I meant all 3 of them. But I'll definitely use all 3 of them also, the 11-15-8 in my pick 4, the transatlantic pick 4 that connects the Longchamp races to Belmont. So now we're going to head over to race number 6 from Longchamp. It's the Prix de l'Abbaye de Longchamp. It's a Group 1 race here, going for a purse of $403,000. This race is for 2-year-olds and upwards. Field of 16 horses flying the distance of ground here of 1,000 meters, or the distance of ground of 5 furlongs on the turf course. It's going to be a very quick race here, the sprint. My top selection, I like the number 2 horse here. The number 2 horse, who is City Light. Going to go 2-1-13. 2-1-13. That's my top 3. Top selections is 2-horse City Light. Christophe Simeon's on this 4-year-old colt here, by Sioni. Excuse me, pardon that. The horse's most recent outing came the 16th of September in Longchamp in the Prix du Petit de Couvert. The horse had a very good second place finish by 1.5 lengths behind Tathim. In his second Longchamp appearance, he got down the race course well. He just missed at the end. Tathim had the jump on him, but he ran well here. Before that, Deauville in the Prix Maurice de Guy Stakes at Deauville, August 5th, he finished 5th by 4 3/4 lengths and never got into the run. I backed him that day as the 3-1 favorite, and he just wasn't the day to win. And then he ran the Diamond Jubilee at Ascot, 6 furlongs, June the 23rd. He finished 2nd by a nose. You know, he just missed at the end. If he broke better at the end, at the beginning, he could have won the race. He broke absolutely crap, which probably cost him the victory. And then before that, he ran the Prix de Saint Georges here on Guinea's Day at Longchamp back in May. 5 furlongs on firm ground. He won by 1.5 lengths, and then just took off clear. A very good race. 8-1. He's a good poster. He's definitely fast enough. It's kind of a specialist course, this 5 furlong course here at Longchamp, so I think he should like it. 8-1, watch out for him. A horse I think could maybe get a piece of it as small, well, he could definitely get a piece of it, but not at best odds. The 1-horse Patash, 7-5. Jim Crowley's on this one. It's 4-year-old gelding by Dark Angel. You know, Charlie Hill trains this one. He finished 4th in Nunthorpe a few weeks ago at York at 80 cents to the dollar, and he just never got the good closing kick. He never quickened up. The first 2 finishers just ran a hell of a race. This horse, he just digressed there. Before that, though, in the King George Qatar Stakes, a Goodwood 5 furlongs on firm ground, August the 3rd, he won by 4 lengths there, and he just took off clear at the end. A very good race. And then he finished 2nd in the King's Stand at Royal Ascot, where he finished 2nd by 1 3/4 lengths. That day, he just missed behind Blue Point, who's ran a hell of a race going 5/8. He's another horse he should likely going. He won this race last year by 4 lengths. You know, watch out for him at the end, but his odds suck. But another horse, I think, maybe another horse that could run a big one at decent odds would be the 13 horse Maps Cross. He's at 12 to 1. JEAN-LUC on this one. This 4-year-old filly by Dutch Art. This horse has a little bit of a weight break, only carrying 133 pounds, and she's the filly facing the boys. Her most recent outing came in the 9th rope at York a few months ago, 5 furlongs, August the 23rd. The horse finished second by a nose behind Alpha Delphini. She just missed at the end. She had a very good turn of foot, just missed. That was where you had to wait for like 10 minutes for the final photo finish to come up to make the race official. Either way, even though she lost by a small margin, she ran a hell of a race, closing up well. I could see her, getting the same kind of trip today and running at the end. If she wins, it's going to be by a small margin, but she's a live horse here. Before then, the Group 2 Sapphire at Cura, 5 runs July 22nd. She finished third by 1.5 lengths, and she never really got into the run. The ground maybe was a little bit dry or wetter than expected, and she just didn't run well there. And then before then, the King's Stand at Royal Ascot, she finished third by 2 lengths. She had a horrible start that day, but she did move a little bit at the end. If she breaks well, you could see her really closing up in the final half furlong. 12 to 1, a horse you definitely want on your forecast or tricast tickets, exacta, trifecta tickets. 12 to 1, I might even do a small each way wager on her, but watch out. So to recap my selection for the 6th from Longchamp, it's the Group 1 Prix de l'Abbaye de Longchamp. As a top selection, I'm going to use the 2-horse City Light. Going to go 2-1-13, 2-1-13, and like I said, I'll probably do a small each way wager on the 13 Maps Cross also. So now let's get on to race number 7. Race number 7 from Longchamp, it's the Group 1 Prix de la Forêt. It's a Group 1 race here going for a purse of $403,000. This race is for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 16 horses going the distance of ground of 1,400 meters or 7 furlongs on the turf course. Top selection here, I like the number 15 horse Poly Dream. Gonna go 15-5 in the forecast exacta. 15-5 forecast exacta. Top selection of 15 horse Poly Dream. 3-year-old filly by Oasis Dream. Freddie Head trains. Maxime Guillon gets the leg up. The horse's most recent outing came the 5th of August at Deauville. 6.5 furlongs in the Group 1 Prix-Maurice de Guy Stakes. The horse won by a half length. He just beat James Garfield. He had the jump on him, and he ran a good race there against some very tough sprinters, even though I think that distance probably wasn't to his liking. I think he's a horse that should love the 7 furlong to a mile trip. But he still won very nicely in the Maurice de Guist. Before that, in the Prix du Palais de Royal at Longchamp, 7 furlongs June the 2nd, he won by 1 1/4 lengths there, and on demanding ground, he closed up well, great turn of foot, and he had a very good race there, beating older horses for the first time. Also, she's a filly. She had a little bit of weight break for beating the males there. And then before that, at Longchamp, 1 mile in the Poulet de Essai de Pouliches, the French 1,000 guineas, she finished 14th by 5 3/4 lengths there. Wide trip, never got into it. It just wasn't the day to win. And then in the Prix Marcel BOUSSAC at Chantilly last autumn, 1 mile, October the 1st, the horse finished second by a half length behind Wild Illusion. Wild Illusion ran a hell of a race. This horse was second best. It wasn't a bad run. I think today with a good post draw, getting the 7 furlong trip, which I think is right up her alley. I think she could beat the boys here. 6 to 5, crap price, but she should run well. A horse maybe at a small odds, and I mean small odds, could maybe get a piece of it, would be the 5 horse Inns of Court. This 4-year-old colt by Invisible Spirit. Andre Favre trains. Miguel Barcelona's on this one. This horse ran the Prix du Pin at Longchamp a few weeks ago. 7 furlongs, September the 16th. She finished third by 3/4 length. That's 90 cents to the dollar favorite. There, she had high weights, or he had high weight, got around the race course okay, but it was a weird race for him. It was the improvement off the race porch came the Maurice de Guist at Deauville, 6.5, August 5th, where this horse finished 15th by 11 1/4 lengths, never got into the run, was way out of it most race, wasn't the day to win, but before then, the Prix des Oranges at Maison-Sophie, July 15th, he won by 2 lengths, he took off clear, very easy race. He's had some good races on the Longchamp lawn, he hasn't won here, but he's run some good races. I think today, if everything gets set up to his way, he could maybe get a piece of it, but if he doesn't, he's definitely good enough to possibly get second, so he'll be used second on my forecast or exacta ticket. But to recap my selections now for the 7th from Longchamp, it's the Group 1 Prix de la Forêt. Top selection, going to use the 15 horse Poly Dream, going to go 15-5 in the forecast exacta. So now let's get on to race. Race number 8 from Longchamp, the final race on the program. It is the Qatar Grand Handicap des Flyers Present par RMC. It's a great handicap here, going for a purse of $83,500. This race is for 4-year-olds and upwards. Field of 16 horses going 1,400 meters or 7 furlongs on the turf course. My top 2 horses in this race, I'll give you the 7-horse On the Sea, and I'll also give you the 10-horse Skeletto. I'll probably do an exact or forecast box here, 7-10. The first horse we'll talk about is the number 7 horse On the Sea. 7-1 here. Christophe Soumillon gets on this 4-year-old gelding by Oasis Dream. The horse's most recent outing came the 16th of September here at Longchamp. 7 furlongs in the Group 3 Prix de Pin. The horse finished 6th by 2 1/4 lengths, 64-1 at post time. They were saying their height's a little bit too high for this horse. He never got into the race, and he's a better handicap horse, just not a group horse. I think back to a handicap today, he should really run a big race. Before that, he ran the 25th of August at Deauville, 6.5 furlongs, 1,300 meters on the all-weather in a lounge race. He finished 6th by 3/4 in length there, and he had a very good turn of foot from that mid-post post draw. You know, he ran decently there, and then his last handicap came at Deauville on the all-weather, 6.5, 1,300 meters, 7th of August. He won by 1 1/4 lengths. Good inside post, and the field of 16 horses, good weight. He just took off clear, a very easy race. And then before that, he ran in a handicap at Mason the feedback in May the 22nd, 1 mile, 1,600 meters. Finished 3rd by 2 3/4 lengths. If he had a little bit of a lower post draw, he could have won, but he got around the race course well there down the straight. You know, he's run well as of late, other than the Prix de Pin. Back to a handicap today, good post draw. I'll take him here for my forecast, along with the number 10 horse Skeletto. 12-1. Maxime Guillon's on this 4-year-old gelding by Kendo Jarts. The horse's most recent outing came in a handicap at Longchamp, 1 mile, 10th of the 16th, where he finished 8th by 3.5 lengths. He never got into the race. The ground was very wet, which I don't think he really handled that today. Never got the good run. It wasn't the day to win. Before that, on good ground at Deauville, 12th of August, 1 mile on a handicap. Down the straightaway, he finished 3rd by half length. He had a good run at the leaders that day. You know, it wasn't a bad race, especially at 32-1. And then he ran on the 22nd of June, a mile in a lounge race. Finished 3rd by 1 1/4 lengths on dry ground. Again, he ran decently. With a good post and a fast pace in front of him, I think he closed up well. 12-1. A horse I'll definitely use on my forecast ticket. So to recount my selection for the 8th, the final race in the program from Longchamp, it's the Qatar Grand Handicap des Flyers Presente par RMC Stakes, or handicap. I'm going to use the 7 horse On the Sea here, and I'll also use the 10 horse Skeletto. Going to do a 7-10 forecast or exacta box. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKit5 for more selections for race courses around the world. Also join me in a few weeks' time for my Breeders' Cup preview videos. Good luck, everybody.